So they slash the beast, it glows for a second, and then it explodes. And after that, episode 4 of Voltron suddenly just stops without a final scene. There's sort of a reason for this. The first several episodes of Voltron link into one another, featuring an overarching story that builds over and around the original elements that I would call episodic. So instead of episode 4 featuring a scene of the team celebrating and then bringing closure to that initial plotline, we're instead supposed to jump right into episode 5 to see what happens next. We're not supposed to feel any closure or easiness because the people of Eris don't get to either. This initially led me to the conclusion that I was wrong in presuming that Voltron was a show that was independent episode by episode. I had presumed that it was something a lot more like Thundercats, where there feels like there's a bigger story, but overall about 90% of the stories don't hinder the status quo and could be skipped without any confusion. And in the end, I don't think that this presumption is going to end up being wrong. When I go to fan listings of these episodes and search for the words friend or foe, the amount of stories that hold this question and their basic premises isn't funny. No, Voltron isn't featuring an initial overarching story because it wants to, but rather because it has to. My diagnosis of the show is that whoever was writing and working on the original show at this point in production was not happy with how it was turning out. They didn't like the team, they didn't like the castle, they didn't like how the suggested Defender of the Universe was dedicating its talents to defending 10 people in a cave and 2 people in a castle. So for the next several episodes, the narrative leaking from one story to another only means to serve the purpose of slowly getting the show to a new status quo that the writers like, so they can do a higher amount of standard Saturday morning cartoon adventures. This story starts off on the Drool Castle, where Hagar is being yelled at by Zarkon for failing at destroying the Voltron Lion Force. Hagar promises that this time she has a trick up her sleeve. Almost every episode from here on out is going to start like this. I think I made a mistake in not mentioning Galaxy Garrison every time that it happens, because I don't think you guys comprehend the scope of how awful this boring stuff is to sit through if you see it every single episode. Basically, the two agree that they should do another arena battle among the Robeasts to see who is the strongest, and that the winner will be made into the strongest Robeast that has ever existed. You'd think that they'd leave this up to happening off-screen, but no. They show each and every second of this process, and it is very tedious and hard to sit through. Have I mentioned that the hand-to-hand fighting in the show is terrible? I kind of feel like I don't need to, because most of my key target audience is people with eyes. Yeah, this sequence doesn't end until 7 minutes into this 23-minute episode. It's awful. So back on Eris, the team splits up to try and convince villagers around the planet that they should come and help them in the castle so that they can all fight the Drool together. Not sure how that's gonna help, because there's still only one giant mecha, but whatever, I guess. In terms of animation quality, I also gotta say, the episodes tend to look pretty good, considering that they were clearly completed by the Hanna-Barbera animation team in 10 minutes per episode. The villagers hidden across Eris are terrified of joining the group in the castle because they are scared of outsiders and because they fear the force of the Drool Empire. While talking about it, Pidge says that he would hate to be the one who would have to tell Allura.
I hate to have to give her the bad news.
And then he's the one who has to tell her.
Sorry, no one wants to help.
The team tries to have another conversation, but the castle soon comes under attack by the Drool Empire and they have to head off. First though, this beautiful moment happens.
An attack? Now?
They head off to their lines and get ready to head into battle. I didn't get the chance earlier to mention my favorite thing about the mecha transformation sequences. The scene where they really badly dub the name Voltron into the sequence.
Voltron!
This episode, however, starts this weird trend of just having the characters also yell the Japanese name of the ship every once in a while.
Go Lion! Roar!
Why? Another main happening in Voltron that starts right about here is the animation team making up new powers for the lions constantly. The lions try attacking the beast separately, which has never worked and will never work, so I don't know why they keep trying it. But eventually they put their minds together and realize that they can't defeat it without their powers combined. Unlike the previous episode, this time the team has a hard time staying ahead in the fight, and it seems like every trick they try only ends with them losing more and more.
If Voltron loses this one, our world is lost.
He won't lose. My father created him.
No, he did not. You do not get to recreate the backstory of Voltron every other episode.
Today, planet Eris, tomorrow, the universe!
What? You're already in control of planet Eris. They're just some pesky resistance fighters that you could easily crush. You can get started on the universe thing right now, numbskull. So Karan straight up tells Allura that she should go and ask the Drool nicely to stop attacking the castle, and that she should even consider surrendering just so the castle will stay intact.
Contact Zarkon. Surrender.
Never.
This castle is all you have left. Beg Zarkon to spare it.
Yeah, not sure why people act like Karan is some big wise mentor figure. He's constantly giving absolutely terrible advice and he never has anything smart to say.
I'll fight.
Oh no.
The dubbing for these episodes are really weird. There's a lot of sound effects that feel like they're missing, and some of the scenes straight up clearly have missing dialogue. In a couple episodes this kinda gets patched, but it's still kinda weird right now. By the way, during this episode I started recording the live reactions that me and my co-producer had to watching the show, because I felt like a lot of what we had to say would be hard to reproduce.
Is the whole castle gonna explode? Oh my god, what happened to the princess?
Holy shit, I thought there was gonna be like a status quo, everything is gonna be destroyed. And the princess and Karan head down to the tomb of the king, where they ask him for advisement in the battle. The ghost of the king appears and reveals that he has at least one trick up his sleeve that he hasn't let them know about yet.
Touch the center of my crown, and you will be victorious, my daughter.
Thanks for the advice.
Goodbye, Optimus Prime!
Please tell me the castle turns into a giant ship. Please tell me the castle turns into a
Oh my god, please.
tell me the castle turns into a giant ship.
Please. Just leave. Oh,
It turns into a giant ship.
no, it's just, I think it's just a rocket.
It's huge.
Oh, no, it's a new castle. They just had another castle hidden inside the first one. And that castle's now risen out of the ground. They filled the castle so that it had a better castle inside it. So you can activate by pressing a button. Holy shit! I can't handle this.
Commercial break right there. That seems like a good idea.
This is still one of the most hilarious things that I've ever seen. And it clearly shows that the creators of Go Lion must really have not had a consistent concept of the show at the beginning. That they have to think of such a ludicrous reasoning for why the castle would suddenly change, and that they would still have this problem in the first place, is just really funny to me. How did Alfor even put that in the castle? Was that like a renovations thing? Like... I was thinking we could repaint the main entranceway to be sort of a navy blue, and I also think that we should think about putting some curtains up in the mess hall, just to lighten the place up a bit. And one other thing, I was thinking that we should put another castle underneath this one. Not only do they have a new castle, but that castle also has turrets pinned to the outside that allow Allura to do actual real fighting that actually kinda helps out. Also, I feel like this is a toy. Was this a toy? Yeah, this was a toy. So yeah, Voltron cuts the beast in half and it explodes. And after that, we get an actual final scene this time. Although it's little more than Allura talking about how great the team is over long panning shots of the individual lions.
Lance, Sven, Hunk, and Pidge, who are forever entrusted with the secret of Voltron, defender of the universe.
Well, I wouldn't say eternally. Okay, I think Sven dies in the next one.
Sweet.